Welcome back to Outdoors with Larry Ray, brought to you proudly by Tennessee Wildlife Resource Agency, Barton Power Sports, Sportsman's Warehouse, and Best Care Home Services.
Hey, welcome back to Outdoors with Larry Ray on ESPN 790 here in Memphis, Tennessee, and all you folks in Brownsville on FM 95.3 and 1520 AM, and, of course, our good folks in Jackson, Tennessee now. Part of the Outdoors of Larry Ray family at News Talk 101.5. And Commissioner Bill Cox is in the studio with us this morning. Glad to have Bill join us in studio. And I hope you were listening on those first couple of segments as Bill talked about some new things that are possible and regulations. And I could tell by the very first thing he talked about was recruitment. And retention and R3F, I think is what he called that.
R3.
And about getting more people involved. And I know the next guest on the show here on this Saturday, Cinco de Mayo, May the 5th. Yeah, there they go. That keeps us loose is Gabbert and Smith here are next to me, and I jump every time one of them says anything. But I know this next young man has done a great job in his capacity as the big game and fur bearer biologist for our Region 1 in West Tennessee, and that's Daniel Stanfield. Good morning, Daniel.
Good morning. How are y'all today?
We're doing great on this next to the last weekend for the turkey season, and so far I am shut out, but that's okay. I mean, I'm still I'm still vertical and still going strong at it. But what are you going to say, Gabbert?
We haven't had any really severe thunderstorms.
That's what it takes for me to get. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, people ask, when am I going to get out there when the storm? Every time I get out there, the weather is not good. So I should be a weatherman. But I know Commissioner Cox is a turkey hunter. I've seen his picture with him with a bird before, and the thrill of it all. Tell us the numbers as of late in the week. Are we on target in West Tennessee?
No, actually, we're down.
That's what I thought.
I kind of check it every Monday, Tuesday after each weekend. Just kind of see, because that seems to be when most of the hunters go out, and it's, from the very get-go, the first weekend, we've been down below on the harvest numbers and compared to previous years. So,
and why? What do you think the reason?
It could be a combination of a lot of things. There's not one silver answer for it. One's definitely going to be the weather. We've had a lot of rainy weekends when the hunters have been able to get out there.
Yeah.
But, it's just, I think it could be actually the population, too. I get 3 or 4 calls a week there in the regional office of concerned turkey hunters, concerned about their local populations and their county populations. So it seems to be, and it's not just West Tennessee numbers being down. It's down
statewide,
across the whole state of Tennessee. Yes, sir.
And in certain areas where you always expect the turkey hunting, and I know, Bill, did you go to the one shot?
I did, and there were 80 participants and 47 killed turkeys, and most of them killed 2.
Really?
Which was the highest percentage ever. So the kill, that's the harvest down this year's a little surprising that maybe that, and that day was a horrible day. It was rainy and
I know it
messy, but it was a very successful fundraiser. So Daniel's right. It could be the weather, it could be the cold, late spring, it could be any number of things that kept hunters out of the field, and I don't know. I know that the reports are we haven't seen as many out in the fields and that kind of thing. So the last couple of springs have been pretty wet, so the hatch may be down.
Particularly, we had rain, as Daniel said. A weekend rain washes out hunting for a lot of our hunters, okay, that don't have the chance to hunt during the week like I've done in areas. And I know that one shot was, where was that held, in Middleton?
It was in Franklin, in where the dinner was, but the hunters go out to 6 or 7 counties out. I hunted in Columbia, and people go to Humphreys County and all around Franklin. And I went to north of Nashville last year. I had to go all the way from there all the way up north of Nashville to hunt.
How did you do this year, Bill? Did you want to talk about it?
I did not kill a turkey.
Did you hear anything?
We heard a couple of turkeys early, but the rain was coming in,
and
we moved.
It was a bad day. Yeah.
And we never were successful, and the rain actually didn't come in like it broke up before it got up there. But a lot of hunters killed turkeys, and I was pleased. And I thought, well, we'll have a great season this year. So
no, we're not.
I really don't think the turkeys are in trouble. I think it's just a blip on the radar, to tell you the truth.
Well, don't you agree with that in a way, Daniel? Because, like you say, the weather plays such a big issue. I don't know what our poult count was when it was taken most recently. I know that it's been wet. Some farmers hadn't even. My wife has a garden at the Agri Center, and we went about it the other night, and they're finally disking it up. Praise the Lord. I'm just glad because she's been going nuts waiting on to get in that garden. So the turkey hunter at the same time is not going to be that way. But I think that the quality of the birds I've seen in the pictures that we're getting in the Mid-South Hunting and Fishing News magazine that they're being sent to us, there's been some quality birds, but I'm not sure the number of hunters are out there. And I'm with Bill on that. I think a lot of people say, oh, man, this is bad. We're not killing birds. Well, if we don't have people out there killing them, the numbers will be down, right?
Well, yeah, there's kind of a double-edged sword. The weather could possibly be keeping hunters out of the woods, but there's also your hardcore turkey hunters are going to go rain or shine and hunt. But Commissioner Cox made a very good point right there of looking at this season. You kind of have to go back and look at last year's spring and the year before that spring in recruitment during the incubation period and the weather that we've had in the bottoms and the rain, because you got to think this year's recruitment is going to be next year's turkeys that you're going to be hunting.
That's right.
And not a lot of people are seeing jakes or seeing young birds. So that goes to show you there was a bad hatch last year.
Daniel, let me ask you a question. I think I know the answer to this, but how many poults? What kind of nest success rate? How many poults does a hen have to raise each year for us to stay even? Do you know the average?
I do not know the average of what you have to be consistent from year to year. I do know from looking at it over the past few years, the brood harvest on poults per hen is it averages between 1.5 and 2.2, 2.3. So you look at it, a hen on average has 10 to 12 eggs. So that tells you that many's dying off when we're doing our poult survey.
I've always heard we had to have 4
I've heard that.
To stay even with, and I don't think what hunters take is, except for the hens. I don't agree with fall hunting, but I don't think taking the gobblers affects the population because there are plenty of gobblers to do the breeding. But I just wondered in just natural mortality and whatever.
Predators.
Predators are a big deal. But if 4 of them can live, that we can well, maybe not stay even. Maybe that's to improve or increase the flock. That's what we need. Maybe 1.5 or 2 or 3 would keep us even. But I thought maybe you might have a little more information than.
Yeah, I don't have the numbers on that. We've being with my job and being part of the turkey team. It kind of goes along with the study that's going on in the counties in Middle Tennessee, where we're looking at all different aspects of the turkey biology, recruitment, harvest, post-hunter surveys. We're doing some human dimension stuff with that, looking at poult survival. We're on the 2-year of a 5-year study on it.
Yeah.
But there's a professor we've talked with quite a bit, and one of the things he kind of brought to our attention that was very interesting was some of the research they've done in the Southeast. From a turkey hunter myself, biologist, we've always thought if you had a farm and you had 2 longbeards on it and 5 jakes that you're seeing in your flock, that if you took the longbeards out, that the jakes would breed the hens.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what they're finding out is from a bird's reproductive cycle and the way, if you look at how birds operate on ornithology, the hens aren't receptive to the jakes. They've decided they were going to breed the gobblers, and they're taking them gobblers out of the population. So you may have hens that are laying unfertilized eggs.
Oh, poor old jakes.
That's something that we're looking into right now.
Yeah, the jakes don't have a chance.
They want a real man.
Yeah,
well,
man.
the season has been set first Saturday closest to April the 1st for a long, long time during the recovery of the turkeys that the agency did such a phenomenal job with. So Daniel's got a good point. If you take your breeders completely out of the equation, then that's a problem. But typically, when a by the time our season opens, I think most of the hens have been bred. They only have to be bred one time.
Yeah.
So, but I'm glad they're looking at that because if they find out something that we need to change, we can change it. But I think, during the when the turkeys were really making a comeback, the season's been set the same way all the time. So
we need to look at. It doesn't have to always be that, does it? I mean,
I tried to change it back when I was on the first time, and I got hammered pretty hard about making it earlier or later. And they explained the biology, and I agreed with it. I did get the limit moved to 4.
Yeah, you did. You were part of that, and I know our friends listening in Mississippi. I still think that your season starts too early. You can't have the same dates in North Mississippi that you have in Biloxi. And so Mississippi deals with this starting on the first Saturday of March, the youth hunt, and then the second weekend. I've spent 7 days down there in that Mississippi season, and I froze to death. The coldest I've ever been.
But I have to agree with Daniel. It's kind of been a strange year because I think in some years I've been watching. I'm fortunate enough to have several birds up around my place.
Yeah, you did.
And just watching them.
Yeah.
They were not very vocal this year.
Not very vocal?
Not very vocal at all. I was watching, some good 2-year-old birds with some hens earlier out there. Never gobbled at all. He never, and you always hear strange. I had several groups of jakes, group of 5 jakes. They'd come through the yard and they're out there feeding around with bird feeders. And you always hear them reading the literature, crows, they can't stand crows. And
right.
Well, I got crows around and they're calling and everything. Turkeys could care less. And it was so funny because one of them, it was dead silent. And he just decided to raise his head and he gobbled twice.
He did. Decided.
And then he shut up. He didn't make a peep the rest of the day.
Daniel, do you know what turkeys sound like?
Well, not this year because I haven't heard one gobble.
There you go. Okay.
There's an honest man.
There's an honest man. Hey, Daniel, thank you, buddy, for being with us.
Thank
Always
y'all.
great. We'll talk to you down the road, okay?
All right. Y'all have a good weekend.
All right.
Thank you, Daniel.
Daniel Stanfield, Region 1 big game, and you could talk about fur bears to him, too. That man knows trapping. Things along that line.
I think, something that Daniel had to get into that will have an impact will be what hogs play on.
I didn't want to get into that because,
they're a problem.
There's a problem. Let's take a break, come right back, and you talk about a problem. How about Asian carp? Do we have a problem?
Yep.
How about 3? Yep. Oh, okay.
Yep.
We'll be right back. We're going to talk to Frank Fiss. He is the TWRA Fisheries Chief on Outdoors with Larry Ray.